Good morning, and welcome to the 2019 Veterans Day Assembly, hosted by the Law and Public Safety Program. Today is a day where we thank our veterans for their sacrifices and commitment to our country. We please ask you to be quiet and respectful during the ceremony, as it means a lot to the veterans we have here today. Now, I would like to bring Lily Sullivan to the podium to introduce to you our veterans. Please hold your applause until all veterans' names are announced.
First off, we'll have Sergeant Stuart Bach, who served 7 years in the United States Marine Corps. Albert Boatman, who served 9 years in the United States Navy. Mike Cavala, who served from 1962 to 1968 in the United States Navy. David Everett, United States Navy. Joe Greenwood, 5 years in the United States Army. Aaron Graff, who served from 1993 to 2004 in the United States Army. Vincent Igampo, who served 8 years in the United States Navy. Joe Lake, 13 years in the Army National Guard. Scott Lance, 27 years in the Army and the National Guard. Rich Larson, 4 years in the United States Army. Ernie Mesa, who served from 1964 to 1967 in the United States Navy. Joseph Menegas, 3 years in the United States Army as a World War II veteran. Harold Newhart, who served from 1962 to 1966 in the United States Coast Guard. Bill Nixon, 1967 to 1961 in the United States Navy. Gerald Sheard, 1952 to 1987 in the Navy and the Coast Guard. Dominic Sidoti, who served 3 years in the United States Army. Daniel Stecker, who is presently serving in the United States Army. Millie Rice, who has served from 1969 to 1974 in the United States Navy. James Sikra, who has served 23 years in the United States Air Force. Dennis Smith, who has served in the United States Army. William Tejan, 1966 to 1970 in the United States Navy. Will Heerwagen, presently serving in the United States Marine Corps. Dan Heitzer, who served 6 years in the United States Navy. Tyler Rettelsheimer, who served 7 years in the United States Navy. Thank you all.
begin the ceremony, I would like to bring Sandy Pexo to the podium for the Pledge of Allegiance and Michael Sano Stefano for the national anthem.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Honor guard, post, collar. Honor guard, right, base. Honor guard, mark time, march.
At this time, I would like to bring our principal, Mr. Forsyth, to the podium.
Please be seated. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Warren County Technical School Veterans Program. As principal of this building, I'd like to say thanks to all of our staff and students for participating today and putting on such a fine tribute in honor of our veterans. To Mr. Wheatley and your law and public safety students, Mr. Lilly and your culinary students, and everyone else who had a hand in planning and coordinating this event, your efforts are appreciated. Most importantly, to all veterans, including our very own Mr. Lance, Mr. Lilly, Mr. Feilback, and Mr. Greenwood, thank you. It's extremely hard to put into words the appreciation I have for the sacrifices you've made. Leaving family and friends, routine and comfort behind to face an uncertain future has to be quite an overwhelming feeling. Your dedication, patriotism, toughness, and resolve are a fine example for all of us to follow. From everyone here at Warren Tech, I sincerely thank you for all that you've done for this country. It is because of you and all veterans that we are free to celebrate with each other today. Alexander Hamilton, one of our founding fathers and the first Secretary of the U.S. Treasury, once said, "There is a certain enthusiasm in liberty that makes human nature rise above itself in acts of bravery and heroism." To our veterans here and everywhere, you have clearly shown that bravery and heroism. Again, with much gratitude and respect, thank you. I hope you enjoy our program and have a wonderful day.
At this time, will Shannon Ruddy please come to the podium?
For many years, this country has honored our veterans in ways no other country can understand. The ways in which we thank them and keep them in our hearts. We remember those who fought for us and who continue to fight for us today and every day. It is important that we remember those who have fallen and those who are fortunate enough to be with us today. A simple thank you can change someone's day. From Vietnam to Okinawa to Afghanistan or stateside, we must consider and commemorate the battles they have fought for us, and so we thank them. Thank you for your sacrifices and efforts towards keeping us safe and free. These men and women behind me today will always remember the glory days of being a true American. Each military branch is different in their own ways, as you will hear when each veteran shares their experience with you. Simply ask them how their service has made them into who they are today. Mr. Lands and Mr. Lilly will always tell you how the military has made them into the striving educator that they are today. They may also change your life in ways you may not understand just yet. These veterans may interest you and to consider the military for yourself, to be a part of a tradition, or as the Marine Corps calls it, a pride of belonging. Each veteran sitting next to me will explain their pride of belonging to the branch that they serve in. Today is a day where you have the opportunity to learn something new you may have never learned before, especially from our veterans who have unique backgrounds and experiences. These men and women are passionate about these experiences, and even earning the title a United States soldier is an accomplishment for many. It takes weeks or months to plan out hate, but love responds in an instant, as these veterans will always be there for each other as well as for you. Consider these men and women next to me a role model for you. Look to the person sitting next to you, to your left and to your right, and keep in mind that these veterans here with us today are who made today possible. Thank veterans today and every day for their sacrifices and courage helped us become the U.S. citizens that we are today. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Please direct your attention to the screen to your left as Allison Ross announces the 24 servicemen from Warren County who were either missing in action or killed in action in Vietnam.
The Vietnam era is listed as August 5th, 1964 through May 7th, 1975, when all hostility officially ceased between the United States and the hostile forces of Vietnam. However, American soldiers began to die in Southeast Asia as early as 1957. From 1957 through 1997, 58,229 American soldiers died and continue to die from injuries received during those era years. The last addition to the casualty list was on May 6, 1997, with the addition of 7 more heroes. Other casualties are listed as they are removed from the POW missing in action list and added to those killed in action. American soldiers from all 50 states, the District of Columbia, American Samoa, Guam, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, other national locations, and unknown areas account for the 58,229 American soldiers who died during the Vietnam War. New Jersey was called home by 1,484 of the American soldiers who died there. Warren County, New Jersey, lost 24 of her sons to the ravages of the Vietnam War.
Now I would like our keynote speaker for today's Veterans Day ceremony to come up to the podium. Please welcome Colonel Jim Sikra from Stewartsville, New Jersey.
Good morning, everyone. It's a real honor to be here, and on behalf of my fellow veterans, I want to say a special thank you to the administrators, the teachers, the staff, and the students for having us here today. We very much appreciate the fact that Warren Tech hosts events like this to honor our area veterans, so thank you for that. Veterans Day is a day of remembrance that began 101 years ago. It was first known as Armistice Day, created to celebrate the end of World War I. The ceasefire began on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918. In 1954, after World War II and Korea, the name was changed from Armistice Day to Veterans Day in honor of not just those who served in World War I, but all those who served in the armed services. It's very fitting to celebrate a day like this because the men and women who are here today, and all the men and women that we honor and remember on Veterans Day, are the real heroes of America. I'm not talking about superheroes or celebrities or sports figures that seem to get all the attention. I'm talking about the real-life heroes who fight for this country, who risk their limbs or their lives, but who don't often get the recognition that they deserve. We see people with incomes of over $100 million on the covers of magazines. You hear about who's splitting up in Hollywood. You see photos of how much weight so-and-so gained or which stars wore what to the Oscars. But you don't hear much about the real stars, the men and women who guard our nation on ships, in the air, and in fighting vehicles. It's kind of sad because we as a nation, as a people, should be thanking these heroes every day and every night. Who am I talking about? Who are these real heroes? Well, today, it's the soldier wearing a battle dress uniform over a full set of body armor in 130-degree heat, who every day faces the possibility of a hidden explosive or sniper fire at every turn. Last month, the heroes were our military forces in Syria who finally brought to justice the ISIS leader who topped the U.S. most wanted list. 16 years ago, it was the soldiers of the 4th Infantry Division who went into a cave in Iraq, not knowing if they were going to run into booby traps or a spray of bullets from an AK-47. But they went in anyway, and they dragged out Saddam Hussein. 50 years ago, it was people like a lot of our veterans over here who fought in the jungles of Vietnam. And before that was Korea, and World War II, and World War I, all the way back in history to the very beginning of this nation. Over the 243 years that we have been an independent country, thousands upon thousands of servicemen and women have served, and many gave their lives to secure the way of life you and I enjoy today. Think about these numbers, and you already heard some a few minutes ago. 9,494 American lives have been lost in battle since Desert Storm in 1991. 58,220 lost in Vietnam. 36,574 in Korea. 405,399 in World War II. And 116,516 in World War I. Joseph Stalin once said, "The death of one man is tragic, but the death of thousands is a statistic." Now, Stalin wasn't a hero, but he was right about that. It's easy to rattle off those numbers that I just mentioned, but each of those numbers represented a person with a name, a face, and a hometown. The friends and families of those fallen heroes sure don't consider them to be a statistic, and neither should we. So what can we do to honor our veterans and remember our fallen heroes? To keep them from becoming just a statistic? Well, let me tell you what some people are doing, not just in the US, but around the world. In Belgium, every Memorial Day, children visit the graves of US service members at an American cemetery there. Let me tell you, seeing an 8-year-old girl kneeling and placing flowers at the grave of a US service member, somebody she never knew who died 70 years before she was even born, that's a moving sight. In the Netherlands American Cemetery, every grave and every name of those missing in action has been adopted by a local family, and there are more than 10,000 American service members in that cemetery. There was a celebration in France this year in honor of the 75th anniversary of D-Day. That was the day the US and its allies stormed the beaches of France and liberated them from the grip of the Germans. On a trip to France this summer, a retired US general said there were as many American flags flying along the streets as there were French flags. And on Tuesday of this week, just a couple of days ago, a 97-year-old World War II vet from Stewartsville named Gordon Kobler was invited to the French consulate in New York City, where he was presented with the French Legion of Honor for his service in the US Army in France during World War II. So Europeans still have not forgotten American sacrifices made there. Our American fighting forces literally saved their towns, their villages, and their lives. Here at home, we're doing equally meaningful things. In Wisconsin, there's a former Marine named Bob Laplander who has started an organization that researches records to help locate remains or answer questions for families of 4,423 men still missing in action from World War I. Or consider Jamie Shout, an Army nurse who served in Vietnam. She digs through old written records to write bios of veterans who were from her home county in Idaho. She calls them her hometown kids. And so far, she's written more than 14,000 pages of histories. Or how about former Marine Captain Seth Jordan? He decided he wanted to give something back to families who lost loved ones in Iraq and Afghanistan. He founded a brewery named Dog Tag Brewing, and then teamed up with Pabst to create a beer that he calls Legacy Lager. Every can of his beer features the name of an American service member who lost his or her life in combat. And right here in Warren County, an Eagle Scout named Sam Young created a computer-generated map showing all the grave sites, including GPS coordinates, of every veteran buried in Straw Church Cemetery along Route 22 near Phillipsburg, some dating as far back as the Revolution. So the goal of all these efforts is just to prompt us, to remind us to pause for a moment and honor those who served the nation and reflect on those whose lives were lost. It's comforting to families to read about their loved ones or know that somebody in California lifted a beer today and said cheers to their son or daughter who was killed in combat. As one family said, their son had been gone for 8 years, but somebody learned about him today. So what can you do? Well, most of you aren't old enough yet to start a brewery. But you can do things like you're doing today. Participate in events like this that honor our military heroes. Support organizations that aid families of those deployed or those who were lost in combat. Visit the Wall of Honor outside the courthouse in Belvedere, where the names of all our fallen heroes in Warren County from World War I up to the present are etched in the monument. And when you're out someplace, if you see somebody wearing a veteran's baseball cap or a t-shirt, just go up and say hi and thank them for their service. It'll mean a lot. There aren't enough words in the English language to really thank these men and women for what they've done, for what they're doing now, and for the sacrifices they and their families have made. Many families paid a terrible price so that the rest of us, you and me, can get on with our daily lives. That's a debt we can't repay. But what we can do is continue to honor the brave who have fallen, to not let them become a statistic, and thank the ones who still live and remember. May God bless them every moment of every day for keeping America safe. Thanks for listening. Thanks for having us here today.
Colonel Sicker is a graduate of Phillipsburg High School class of 1961. He attended Rutgers University, where he received a Bachelor of Science degree in 1965 and a PhD in 1973, both in ceramic engineering. He entered the Air Force through the ROTC program in 1969 and served more than 23 years on active duty. During his career, he was involved in development and flight testing of U.S. Air Force missile and atmospheric reentry systems and aircraft electronic warfare systems. He also served a tour of duty in technical intelligence and taught engineering mechanics at the U.S. Air Force Academy. He retired from active duty at Norton Air Force Base, San Bernardino, California in 1992. Colonel Sicker's military decorations include the Legion of Merit, Meritorious Service Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters, Air Force Commendation Medal with 1 oak leaf cluster, Air Force Achievement Medal, and National Defense Service Medal with Bronze Service Star. One last round of applause for Colonel Sicker. Please direct your attention to the screen to watch a brief video from Alana Savanos overseas in Kosovo.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Specialist Alana Savanos. I'm a Warren County Tech graduate of the Long Public Safety Program. Currently, I'm serving in the Army National Guard deployed in the Bolton region. I want to thank Mr. Wheatley for arranging and organizing this opportunity to speak with you all today, the Lowell Public Safety students for the hours of hard work that went into making this event, the administration for allowing you all to be present, and a special thank you to the veterans who are there celebrating today. The National Guard serves a dual role, most of the time deploying the power of individual states with the governor acting as our commander-in-chief. Typically, we get called into action to help during natural disasters or to bring aid during a state of emergency. However, the president can activate us to put us under federal control, hence why I'm here in the Balkans. If you don't know where that area is, it's on the southeastern edge of the European continent. So, if you look Italy here, right, the blue kicks out, and Greece, it's the countries that sit right up there. I'm part of a really cool mission out here simply because of the uniqueness of it. It's a NATO-led mission which allows me to work with many different U.S. allies. We work closely with the Romanians, the Germans, the British, the Italians, the Austrians, the Danish, the Swiss, the Turks. There's a lot of us out here lending our support to this mission. So this really makes for an interesting dining facility, and our makeshift soccer games feel more like mini Olympics. But I work in the Army Intelligence section, and if anybody there's had the opportunity to, they're probably laughing or shaking their head. In general, I'm responsible for the processing, the analysis, and the distribution of tactical and strategic intelligence. So to get away from this textbook answer, it's my job to make sure the commander and everybody understands what's going on in our area and make suggestions to the operational procedures. It's a very important job because an opinion I form and later brief can become a reality. I can have an immediate impact not only on our soldiers, other soldiers, civilians, the sites we're working on. It's a lot. But it's really cool to see all your hard work play out. And it's an even better feeling if you were able to assess it correctly. One of the things I've grown to appreciate since I've had the privilege of wearing this uniform and being immersed into this military lifestyle is the unbelievable and the unbreakable bond that exists between the shared experiences of all that have served. Existing not only amongst those that we stand physically shoulder to shoulder with, but the ones who have worn the uniform spanning different generations and different conflicts. I count it an honor to stand amongst those who have served before me and will continue to stand up after me. So today I ask all of you to listen to these men and women as they speak to you in their classes. Their stories, although focused on the same general theme, are so uniquely different. You're being given this great opportunity to hear history through the men and women who lived it, the people who created it. It's certainly a proud and amazing feeling to serve in this tradition of these heroes. Before I step away, I just want to say hello to my little brother Garrett. I love and miss you, and I'll be home before you know it. I want to give a big heartfelt thank you to Mr. Lilly and his culinary students. Your cookies made it out here, and they were enjoyed by those of us who were fast enough to get to them before they were devoured. You definitely rose the spirits of many of us out here. They're still talking about them in those snickerdoodles. And I want to say thank you to the Military Appreciation Club there at Warren Tech. I saw recently you guys went out and rose money and awareness for homeless veterans. I want to let you guys know that the work you're doing significantly impacts the lives of many, and it's not going unrecognized. So thank you for your continued support. Have a great day.
Now, please welcome Destiny Davis and Emily Ferreira to the podium to present our POW MIA Empty Chair Ceremony.
We would like to take this opportunity to remember the incredible cost paid by those who gave their all to help preserve the freedoms we enjoy, those gallant individuals who fought and died for our country. Yet it is in remembering our fallen comrades that we are reminded of those fate who is still unknown, those still listed as missing in action and prisoners of war. We have 9 MIAs in Warren County. More than 78,000 Americans are still unaccounted for from World War II, 7,628 from Korea, 126 from the Cold War, 1,587 from Vietnam, and 5 from the Gulf War. Those courageous Americans who dedicated their lives to preserving and protecting our freedom will never be forgotten. We especially honor and remember their families.
To honor these heroes, we represent the POW MIA Empty Chair Ceremony. Those who have served and those currently serving in the uniformed services of the United States are ever mindful that sweetness of enduring peace has always been tainted by the bitterness of personal sacrifice. We are compelled to never forget that while we enjoy our daily pleasures, there are others who have endured and may still be enduring the agonies of pain, deprivation, and internment. We call your attention to the small table, which occupies a place of dignity and honor. It is set for 1, symbolizing the fact that members of our armed forces are missing from our ranks. They are referred to as POWs, prisoners of war, and MIAs, missing in action.
We call them comrades. They are unable to be with their loved ones and families, so we join together to pay our humble tribute to them and to bear witness to their continued absence.
The table is small, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner, alone against his or her suppressors.
The tablecloth is white, symbolic of the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms.
The table is set for 1, symbolizing the frailty of one prisoner, alone against his or her oppressors.
The yellow ribbon on the vase represents the yellow ribbons worn on the lapels of thousands who demand, with unyielding determination, a proper account of our comrades who are not among us.
The single rose in the vase signifies the blood they may have shed in the sacrifice to ensure the freedom of our beloved United States of America. This rose reminds us of the family and friends of our missing comrades who keep faith while awaiting their return.
A slice of lemon on the bread plate is to remind us of their bitter fate, those captured and missing in a foreign land.
The salt being sprinkled on the plate is to remind us of the countless tears of those who have never come home, and of the tears of their families and friends whose grief knows no end.
The Bible serves to remind us of the comfort of faith offered to those who face seemingly insurmountable challenges, and it also reminds us of our country being founded on the principle of one nation under God. The glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us this day.
The candle is reminiscent of the light of hope, which lives in our hearts to illuminate their way home. away from their captors to the open arms of a grateful nation.
The American flag reminds us that many may never return and have paid a supreme sacrifice to ensure our freedom. The POW-MIA flag is a reminder of the plight of America's POW-MIAs.
The chair is empty, our comrades are missing.
Please join us in a moment of silence to honor these heroes and their families. Thank you.
Please direct your attention to the screen to your left. Our Law and Public Safety program has put together a slideshow video as a tribute to our veterans here today.
I signed up cause daddy's work truck couldn't pay my way through school. Chance to be like Paul, to give my all for the red, white, and blue. It's Fort Bragg for 8 long weeks, mud and blood and aching feet, bonds with new brothers and shipped overseas. We get up each morning, know this could be the end, but we still put our boots on and do it all again. We all love living free and keep on glorifying or die trying. Steal a man's soul, taking fire from faceless enemies, getting old. You ain't seen a fight till you're fighting for your life, with your brothers side by side in cold gold. We get up each morning, knowing this could be the end, but we still put our boots on and do it all again. We all love living free and we'll keep on glorifying or die trying. My little girl, my whole world's growing up in pictures. If anything to be on a plane, be back home there with her. We get up each morning, knowing this could be the end, but we still put our boots on and do it all again. We all love living free, and we'll keep on glorifying or die trying.
And last, but certainly not least, I'd like to welcome Mr. Wheatley to the podium.
First of all, I want to thank you all for being respectful during our Veterans Day ceremony. It's nice to see that auditorium filled with students and staff who are paying attention, and contemplating what our veterans have gone through and what they will continue to go through in the future. I want to thank our administration, Mr. Forsythe, for letting us have this program here. This is our 8th year doing it. I think every year we get more veterans coming. We try to change it up so it's not the same thing every year. So our 24 sons. We have the MIA, POW, Mr. Chair ceremony here. I want to thank Mr. Menegas, who after serving in World War II, 75 years ago, he's still here today. I want to thank him for his service, right? And he will be going from classroom to classroom, pre-assigned classrooms, and your students will have the opportunity to talk to all the vets up here, find out what they've gone through, what they're going through, and how the military has changed their lives and have made them the person that they are here today. Something to think about for you guys for your future. Especially juniors and seniors who might not know what they want to do in life. As I tell all my students, think about the military. It's an alternative. If you don't have a plan and you're not that person who wants to go to college, however, you don't want to start in the work world yet, the military will give you the training. It will give you money for college. It'll get you through. It'll change you. I've been here 10 years now. I've had about 40 of my students go through the military. And the transformation you see from when they graduate here at Warren Tech to when they come back from boot camp, and then when they are finished with their enlistment and they come back 4 or 5 years later, the changes are immense. They become young men and young women. So it's an idea for you guys to think about somewhere in the future. I'd like to thank Mr. Federico, my graphic arts students. I'd like to thank Mr. Lilly, who's not here with us today, because he prepared the breakfast for our veterans, and now he's preparing lunch for them. So although he's not here, let's give a round of applause. For some of the students who don't know, Mr. Lilly has a military appreciation club. So after what you've seen here today, you might want to get involved. We're always helping out the military here at Warren Tech. Although she's not here, I've been in contact with Alana Sylvanos. When I first texted her, asking her if she would do a video, of course she was hesitant. But we know that those of us who know Alana, she always rises to the occasion. I want to thank her for her service in Kosovo. I want to thank her for a video that she made for us today. I want to thank Ms. Suglin and all her students, television, TV. We thank you. Mr. Camerata for setting up the IT stuff that we have here today. The students in the Honor Guard for their service and their practice. For Jaden, who's standing behind me, who's our MC. For Shannon, who put this whole Veterans Day ceremony together with the help of her fellow students, Lily, Allie, and the rest of my juniors and seniors. I'd like to also thank Dave Gittens, who put this set up together. He started yesterday morning, putting everything together. And he'll be here later on when we're done. take everything down. Veterans Day. We've heard people talk about what it is. We have neighbors, we have friends, we have family members, but we know who have served. And one day a year, we thank them. However, we should be thanking them for every day, because they give us the right to be here and to be free. And we want to thank them for that. On a personal note, my brother will be 60 in January. He's still serving in Iraq right now. He did 24 years in the United States Army, retired as a lieutenant colonel. From there, he went right over to the Department of Defense. He's been serving for 14 years there. He started his military career in ROTC at Rider University in 1978 and continues to serve his country today. I said, Bill, when are you going to retire? He says, when I feel like I'm finished my mission. So, do you get tired of it, Bill? He said, no. Self-satisfaction, personal satisfaction. It's something bigger than me. Again, at 59 years old, he volunteered to go over Iraq. And as the colonel talked about before, several weeks ago, we killed the leader of ISIS. My brother is over in Iraq. He is with the Special Forces. And he had a little bit, just a little bit, in that mission. For 40 years, he would not tell us where he's going, what he's doing, because that's what you do in the military. He would not even tell his wife where he's being deployed. She had to find out from other wives. But 2 weeks ago, he sent us an email, myself and the rest of my family, who I shared with Mr. Lilly and Mr. Lance. There was an article from the paper. And in the article, we talked about the mission that he was involved in, where he was stationed at MacDill Air Force Base, and where the mission started in Iraq. He must have been very proud of him doing his small part, because that's the first time in the 40 years that he let anybody in our family know what he was doing. So not only these veterans up here who I honor my brother, Lieutenant Colonel Bill Wheatley. Again, I want to thank you all for coming here today, for being very respectful. I appreciate it. The veterans appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day as they come into your classroom. Although there's not enough of them, and there's not enough time in the day, most of them will be visiting the classrooms in the 100 unit up front. So at this time, I'd like to dismiss you to your second period class. You guys still have 10 minutes left in the second period class. Thank you very much.